So I decided to make a video where I talk about games similar to Kenshi, but then I realized there aren't really any games like Kenshi. So I present to you games like Kenshi. Number 1 is the Stalker series. I put it on this list because it's one of the best examples of an open world game similar to the game of Kenshi. The College Chernobyl mod also adds similar gameplay, completely removing the story from the game, in favour of focusing on the open world atmospheric sandbox that Stalker is well known for. I put this on the list as it has similar themes of being worthless, weak, the world not caring for you, and you have to become more powerful by yourself with absolutely no help from the game. Stalker also has an incredibly atmospheric environment and soundtrack. It's definitely worth at least a try, as the games are old and very cheap on sites like Humble Bundle. And the game's modding community are very active. If you find playing horror games in the dark and actually peeing yourself after you get jump scared fun, Stalker's your type of game. Number 2 is Rust. Rust's gameplay is similar to Kenshi, the main difference being that it's online and on servers and of course multiplayer. It is a first-person game sharing similarities with Kenshi, in the sense that you start off extremely weak with no clothing or weapons, only a torch or light, and a rock for basic work. Other players and wild animals make your life hell until you establish and loot your craft and way to being able to survive and thrive in the wasteland. Unlike Kenshi, it also offers the opportunity of cooperating with other players and you can play with your friends. It's a great game for exploration and survival, and the harsh world it's set in is very similar to Kenshi. If you do decide to play Rust by yourself, beware of the screaming children and neckbeards who will try to use any power over you to feel better about themselves, almost constantly. Number 3 is Kingdom Come: Deliverance. Kingdom Come is a fantastic story-driven game set in the Czech part of the Holy Roman Empire in the early 15th century. At the start of the game, much like Kenshi, you are too weak and unskilled to fight anyone at all, and are forced to flee from every combat. Eventually, you grow stronger and gain training, and you can take on harder enemies and hunt. The game never becomes very easy. You will almost never be able to take more than 1 or 2 enemies by yourself at one time, which adds to the realism. It has a long, well-written story that you can completely neglect if you decide to, and it also has a lot of side missions and collectibles. The hunting aspect of the game is very fun also, if not tedious in the early game, and it's similar to Kenshi in the fact that its world is brutal and doesn't help you at all. If you enjoy being beaten to death near regularly, it's a very fun game. Number 4 is RimWorld, which is a very obvious pick if you've played both games. RimWorld is a great base builder and a colony manager. It's also unforgiving, but less so in the early game than Kenshi. It's a lot longer and more replayable than Kenshi, though it isn't as pretty, and doesn't have the amount of lore that Kenshi has to flesh out its world. If you enjoy the base building and squad management aspect of Kenshi, you'll enjoy RimWorld. Number 5 is Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Fortress is similar to Kenshi in that it's an open-ended game with absolutely no official goals or ending in sight. It's not similar to Kenshi in the fact that its graphics are fully made from text. The game is very, very unique in the sense that upon the start of your game you generate not only a custom continent, but also thousands of years of history to go along with it. It also has different game modes, and if you enjoy the idea of starting your own fortress and watching it thrive while living in an extremely depth random world, you may enjoy this game. The graphics are a turn off for most people who see the game for the first time, but if you can get past them, it's a very fun and rewarding game with near infinite replayability. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next video.